another episode of Q&A with Melissa Rohan, and I'm going to answer a few of the questions that I have received. Just so you know, my name is Melissa Rohan, and I am the president and founder of Waterfront Academy here in Washington, D.C. We serve children as young as 3, and we go all the way up through 8th grade. So that's 3 classrooms of primary, elementary, and adolescents. And we're a dual language, English-Spanish, Montessori school in the Catholic tradition. The first one is about sacraments. Okay, so I get asked this every year. So every year in the fall, when we start the school year, I ask all the parents to let me know if their child is going to be preparing for sacraments that year. Inevitably, I get this question. So I thought, why don't I just put this here on Q&A with Melissa Rohan? And because I think that it's more than our school that has this question about sacraments and how to prepare for them. I think this is pretty universal. So let me just say a few things. So we're in the Archdiocese of the Greater Washington area. A lot of these rules are diocese by diocese. Okay, just so you know. Now here, and I think this is pretty universal, the Catholic Church believes that the parent is the first teacher. Okay, so even if you go to a Catholic school or a school like ours, which is in the Catholic tradition, you as the parent would have to initiate the preparation for the sacraments. And the question that I usually get is, well, aren't you going to do it? No, it is not I cannot do that. You have to, as the parent, go to your parish pastor and let them know that this is something that you are seeking out for your child. And then from there, you will get guidance moving forward. A few things that we have seen here is that they do ask for a 2-year notice. So hey, this is going to happen, and it's going to happen in the next 2 years. That would be one of them. The other thing that is important to note is that at a certain point, because we do have this situation every once in a while, the parent will ask us to do the baptism, the first communion, etc. And it's usually this is when they're a little bit older, so they're not in 1st grade or 2nd grade, they're, let's say, in 4th grade or 5th grade. The parish or the diocese might have different rules for full conversion. So that's just, again, must be initiated by you and your family, the parents and the children, etc. It can't be initiated by the school principal or head of school. So I think that is really important. And then once you initiate that, usually what I ask, and I'm sure this is true of other heads of school, and it might be with a director of religious education or something like that, depending on how the school is structured. You'll communicate with the parish and just let them know what sacrament prep looks like at the school, and make sure that it's okay with the pastor. And then et cetera, and working with their timeline at that parish, because each parish has their own timelines and their own deadlines and their own requirements. Again, a lot of it is structured from the diocese down, but there is some very specific requirements, timelines that the pastor might have for the parish. And so me as the head of school, or if I had a director of religious education, they would kind of work with them on meeting all of that and scheduling it all out. So that is something that we always get asked, and I just wanted to kind of put that here for you, because it might help so that you understand it, that, I think as Catholics, we believe that the parents are the first teachers. And so you, as the parent, would have to initiate that sacrament prep with your pastor at your parish. And then we would work with you from there, work with the parish from there. The second question, let's talk about birth gaps. That one's kind of an interesting one. I personally believe have as many kids as God gives you. Right? It is not on your timeline as much as it is on God's timeline. And we can create a lot of plans, and as they say, God laughs. So that said, there is some really good science out there on like birth order and things like that. Here's the thing. In my mind, you have the children when you have the children, and that's it. Like, and you enjoy the family that you have, that you were blessed with, and it's just so beautiful. And I have seen a lot of different. I've seen it all. And I'm sure I say that, and I'm sure I'll see something else in the future. I don't know, but the point is that like it's never too close and it's never too far. It just is, okay? And so you make the decisions based on the family you have. There's some really great studies out there regarding birth order. And I find it so interesting. And I think it's so applicable to a Montessori environment because a lot of this is structured off of families and homes. And so there's a lot of correlation. So just like we have in our classroom, 3-year mixed aged classrooms, it's very similar to what you would see with birth orders in the home. And so the eldest child is going to have a lot of experience as a leader, and they're really going to own that identity and responsibility and things like that. And a second child, if you are blessed with 2, the second child is going to have a lot of the younger child tendencies of being more social and funny and lighthearted. And then if middle children are going to kind of be somewhere in between. They're very creative and innovative, again, because of where they are. And when you have a Montessori environment, what's neat is that like all the children get to play all those roles at some point. And if you're here for a long time, multiple points. And so I think that there's so many wonderful things about that. And then you have children who are further apart, let's say 4, 5, 6 years apart. And I think that's beautiful too. I think that when you have a bigger birth gap, each child gets to be a leader, right? And then the children, they really, if they can really become friends, and they can be great, great partners through life. And it really doesn't, it changes in that it doesn't look the same, but it doesn't change anything beyond that, where there's still love, there's still, sibling stuff. They're siblings, and I think it's wonderful. So when if you were, let's say, at home, and what that might look like at home is that you would have, as with the older child, and you bring in a younger child, let's say they're 6 years old. Well, that 6-year-old gets a lot of responsibility that a 2-year-old wouldn't have, right? So there's an opportunity there, and that's really cool. And so I just think that there's a lot of opportunities, regardless of what kind or how your family looks. And you just need to lean into the beautiful blessings that you have and not compare your family with another family, because I think that's just a recipe for destruction. Why would you compare with another family? Just enjoy the family you have and just be grateful for all the blessings you have with that. And it is a blessing. It really is. And it's a blessing one way and it's a blessing another way. And, you know, and that's life, and it's wonderful. So, but we do get every once in a while a parent will ask, I recently got an ask about, oh, is it too far apart? And it just is. It's beautiful as it is. It's not anything. I was talking to a family member just 2 days ago, actually, and my family, and this person was talking about how he's one of 7 children, and it was like the first 3 children, they're all close in age, and then there's one in the middle, and then there's another 3 all close in age. And he was talking about how before he had graduated high school, how much he helped the younger children with homework. Like, you know, and it's a memory that he has now as an adult. And I think that's wonderful, right? So like he had the best of both worlds, right? And then I can say in my own family, you know, they're all relatively close in age, but the oldest is much older than the youngest, but they are like best of friends. Like they just love each other so much. And so it doesn't matter. It's the blessing you have, and just be grateful and go with it. It's wonderful. And as many children as you can have, like do that. What is it? Like be fruitful and multiply. Absolutely, do that. Let's do another question here. I really want to talk about grades, tests, and homework. I'm really feeling called to talk about that one. In a Montessori environment, we do not do grades. We don't do testing, and we don't have homework. And we get a lot of questions relating to any of them or all of them. When I do tours, or when I talk to people in my life, yeah, all the time. This is part and parcel of my position, my lot in life, I guess. And I really feel strongly about this, actually. Regarding tests, test taking is a skill. It's a very important skill, and I don't want to diminish that. I think that you are going to have to take a lot of tests in your life, and I think it's important to be prepared for test taking. Test taking, though, in my mind, is similar to games. Pick a game. Some of us like Sudoku, and some of us like football. I mean, but as humans, we love games. Okay, so if you think of a task as a game, any game, sometimes you do amazing, and sometimes you do face plants. It's the way it is. And if you are going to be assessed simply on your test taking, well, it wouldn't really capture what you're actually able to do. It would just be a snapshot of a couple of hours at one moment in your life. And I think this is important, just like Sudoku or football, you could know how to play, but if you're not skilled because you haven't honed the skill, well, then you're always going to flop. And it's never really going to be an accurate assessment of what you know, ever. Because you would need to actually know the skill of test taking, not what's on the test. All right. Also, so you can have bad days. You would actually need to hone the skill of test taking. Also, the thing is with Sudoku or football is that there's hacks, right? So even with all your skill and with all your knowledge, there's little cheats, right? Not like illegal cheats or anything like that. There's like life hacks. And if you are not privy to those life hacks or cheats, or I don't know, whatever you want to call them, then that extra 2% that can move you above the line, well, you're missing that. But other people have it. In order for us to like make sure that all the children are amazing test takers, well, we would have to give up all that time that we're taking to use towards actual learning. Think about that. Because time is finite. We only have so much time. In a year, in a month, in a week, in a day. That's it. How do you want to spend that time? Do you want to spend that time in learning how to hone all those skills for test taking? For what? It doesn't serve the child. The only person that those tests serve is the adult. That's it. It sounds like a waste of time to me. And if a child does have one of those faceplant days, what then? That inner monologue that's going on in that child's head is for what? It's all negative and it means nothing. So it's not helpful. It's not helpful for anybody except for the adult, who really, in the equation, not that important, right? So that's how I feel, and I feel very strongly about tests. Clearly, I'm very passionate about this. So what we do, because again, going back to my first statement, is that they are very important. I will save all of that to their very last year here in their adolescent classroom year, that 8th grade year. And I spend about a month talking about and practicing test taking. I show them all the skills, all the hacks, everything they're going to need to know. That's what I do. That's what we do here. Because test taking kind of seems like not an important to their education and their development to me. Grades. Every child in a school, in a typical school, is learning the exact same thing at the exact same time as the other children in their age grade level, right? At any given moment, with any given lesson, that lesson is only hitting, at best, a third, but really less than a third. Then there's a third where that lesson is way below where they're at. And so they're bored to tears and they're just going through the motions because they got to get to the next thing. The end of the school day, lunch, bathroom, whatever. All right? They don't care. It's easy peasy. They're just coasting through because they can't. They're not being challenged. They're not. And then you've got another third, and they are at the bottom, and everything that's coming out of this lesson is like Greek. You could speak Greek and it would be the same. It would. And no one is slowing down for them because they got 2/3 that either need this to go on pace or faster. And if you're in that bottom 1/3, that internal monologue that I was already talking about with the testing, it's even worse. It's even worse. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's so sad that any child would feel that way. Because we're human and we are designed to learn. And if you feel like you can't do that basic thing that we were designed to do, it is frustrating depressing. My heart breaks for that third. I mean, really, my heart breaks for the top third too, because that's also really frustrating. So that's a typical classroom, all right? And we don't do that. We do individualized curriculums. So we're try to be about exactly where we're supposed to be with every single child. And if we need to like slow down a gear so that we can like get them to understand, as soon as they understand, it's like full speed ahead with them, right? They just need to get over that little hump or challenge, and then they move forward. Now, okay, so if we're in a typical classroom, what does that grade represent? It represents whether or not they're on target with the lessons that are being given by the teacher to this arbitrary timeline that means nothing to any of the children. I mean, one third of the children in that classroom. That is what that grade represents. That's it. And by the age of third grade, if your child or any child in that classroom, in a typical classroom, isn't on or above, statistically speaking, they are going to be behind for the rest of their academic career by third grade. Why do we need to do this? Why? So the grades, and a grade at school A is not the same as a grade in school B, okay? You can have a community of children who are on, 1/3 of them that you're assigned to be on their timeline are at, speed 15, and then at another school, that third that you're, assigning a timeline to is at speed 8, okay? So an A in school, speed 15 is not the same as an A that is at school of a community of children who are at speed 8. So, it means nothing. It means nothing. Nothing important anyways. It really, and why are we comparing one child to another? We shouldn't be. Because the only thing it does do is compare children against other children. And I have had that has come into my school more times than I would like to admit to. Where a parent will come in and ask me how their child is doing compared to another child. I can't talk about another child. I can't. Do you know how horrible that is? And so if we're assigning grades, we are doing exactly that, because you know that those parents are talking to each other and they are comparing each other's grades. They're their children's grades, excuse me. It's not a competition. It's not. We are trying to help the children learn, grow, develop into these wonderful people. That is the point. That is the point. And so they are going to grow on their timeline, not mine, not the parents, not their friends. No, it's each individual's timeline. That's what that is. Homework. There is no study that proves homework improves education in the elementary and under ages. There is some benefit in middle school and above, but it is nominal. So when we're doing what is the point of homework, right? What is the point of homework? Here is the point of homework. Teacher cannot finish all the lessons because remember, we've got them in different areas. They can only really hit that 1/3, and then you got the third that's above, and you got the third that's below. Well, we got to give the third busy work because they're bored, and we got to give the ones that are below, we need to communicate in some way to the parents, hey, your child is struggling. And so here's some homework, and maybe you can help them understand this because there's only a finite number of hours in the day. All right. So that's the point. There you go. There's homework. And like, as a parent, and the child is coming home with homework, your day has now become in managing homework, right? And the child that doesn't want to do the homework, what then? Do you do it for them? Or do you scream at them? Or do you start incentivizing with like treats? If any of those things work, it only works for a short amount of time. And you know this and I know this. We all know this. It is, you can't keep it consistent, and you can't, it's just, it is what it is, right? And so going home with homework, again, it doesn't serve the child. It's just either busy work or frustration. Learning should be fun. Learning is fun. I love learning. I want the children to learn to love learning the way I love learning. I love all kinds of learning. I love it when people tell me, hey, like, I don't know, like, I'm so curious. Don't we want this for our children? The things that we have in place in a typical school discourages that. And so they're just there running through, going through the motions, checking off the boxes. They don't care. They're not interested. They're not curious. They're not learning. That's what tests, grades, and homework does. That's what that does. And it does it well. It's very efficient at that. And that's sad. And I believe there's a better way. And I like the way that I'm doing it. And I feel that when parents come to our school from typical schools, they get that evening and weekend back with their family. And that is so valuable. Oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps. That is so wonderful when you have the ability to strengthen that family bond, to do outings to the museum, to go on hikes, bike rides, picnics. The ideas are endless. All these things that you can do with your family and enjoy each other. Because you know what? Your children grow up quickly. They do. And do you want those memories about fighting over homework or their grades or studying for tests? Or do you want memories of like enjoying each other? You know, I mean, we all have to make these choices for ourselves, and my choice isn't necessarily going to be your choice. But I do get that question a lot, and I do feel very passionate about it. And so I wanted to share it with you, and I think I got a little bit more passionate than I thought I was planning on. I try to be as positive as possible. It's just this one's like a real to me. And I see it. I see it. And that's another thing that parents say, is that their child is here 3 months. And what a difference that child has become, because they're happy, they're curious, they're excited. I mean, when you drop your child off at school, do you want them to be mad, or do you want them to be excited to go to school? And when you pick them up, do you want to spend time with your child, or do you want to be like over their shoulder making sure that they're studying and doing homework? Or when they get their report cards, like, what do you want that to look like? That's your choice. It's not mine. When people ask me why we don't do these things, this is why. And does it matter for them to get into another school? No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, the children that leave our school are so prepared for high school and for college. They do so well. They skip those freshman courses because they are well past it. The courses that they are taking, they do exceptionally well at. They love it. They're curious, they're interested, they're engaged. And yeah, they're going to have homework and tests and grades. Of course they are. That's going to happen. That's part of life, obviously. But they're really confident going into it. And they love school. And they love learning. And so it makes it a lot more interesting, right? And they've got all the life skills that we prepared them for. We prepared them for high school and for college, and they do really well. So it's not a challenge to go from here to there. It's actually an asset. Those are my 3 Q&As. And I look forward to doing this again. I promise I won't do another one that I'm super passionate about. Because, like, I got a little... anyways, have a great one, and until next one.